All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to be going over some equipment builds or some equipment tips, tricks, how I manage the inventory, which ones are important to me because of the build that I do. If you saw my last video, you'll see how I've kind of structured my skill tree, and how you structure your skill tree is going to really decide which pieces of equipment are going to benefit you. But there are some common threads, so even if you have a different skill tree than mine, you can kind of work through what I'm about to discuss and hopefully get a better result in the end. Some of the stuff is pretty obvious, so let's just start with the basics, which is these 5 pieces of equipment across the top. You've got the sword, the first tree, the helmet, the chest plate, the aura, and then the slash. First things first, don't get hung up on the mythic equipment. If you've got one that's worse than the one that you've currently selected, by all means get rid of it. You don't need to pile up 50 pieces of mythic equipment, and just by having bought the mythic or received it, you're going to get that as a permanent bonus. So if I look here under my mythic, you'll see the sets I've collected. I've also done a mythic guide, so please check it out. So let's just show you guys what I'm talking about here. So if we got rid of this Night Angel's Kiss, because it's kind of useless to me, you'll see right above the main damage source there, you'll see it. I'm playing on my note, by the way. So right above where I'm equipped, you'll see 317.16 CCN. And if I equip the one below it, it's going to be a significant drop. So this one below it is quite useless. And also, guys, pay attention to these green arrows. Next to the critical damage, you'll see that this one, if it's of the same type, it'll tell you that this one's better, but it won't tell you that an all hero damage is better than the critical damage. It'll only tell you what the best one of that type is. So if I were in here, a green arrow might appear for mage hero damage, or if I was here and I had boss gold selected, a green arrow might appear for boss gold. Or like this one, helmet primary effect will appear for that, because this one here below is better than this one here. But as soon as you switch to sword, it's not going to tell you that that's better or worse. Even though if you look at that clan ship damage, it's quite a bit better. No, it's actually not. So this one is better. So I'll keep it on that. Anyways, going back to here, guys, if we check out Night Angel's Kiss under the crafting, is it the Fallen Angel? Which one is that? It is the Fallen Angel set. So check it out there. Sorry, guys. This Fallen Angel, Night Angel's Kiss. Anything highlighted in this tree means you've obtained it, and it's forever going to have this active set. Whether or not you own them or you've destroyed them or collected them for diamonds, don't even worry about it. Because that's just going to always be permanent. And as you level up, you can buy these sets again. So if you find you've got more than one mythic set, like once I collect all of these, I might want to go back and get a brand new Seal of the Tiger for whatever reason, just because I'm focused on the clan ship build. So if I want to get this later on and I've climbed 25,000 levels, then you could purchase that again, and it'll be substantially better than when you first got it. And likewise, any of these sets that you've already collected could drop on the ground at any time. So don't get too hung up on that. I'm going to go ahead and delete this because it's useless. Get my money back. And now going through the first sword tree, sometimes a critical damage is better than an all hero damage, and sometimes an all hero damage is better than a critical. So I'd say the biggest thing, guys, is pay attention to your main damage source, which is this 22.29 CCR. And let's just see how equipping this legendary set affects it. So now I've gone from 22 to 7, and then let's just check this one for sakes. So now this CCR is much better than this one. So I'm actually going to equip this one. Oh, it's switched out because I'm my clanmate, my silhouette clanmate's already gone down. So that's another thing to be on the lookout for, because if you're not running skills that you normally use, that will determine how much you get out of it. So I'm going to hit him again. because it makes a difference to me. So 130 versus 22, which means this is the better one. So I'm just gonna walk through my set, and guys, this might kill somebody inside, but it's not useful to me because I probably got it so long ago anyways. So let's go down all the hero damage, and then if I don't see a green arrow, that means we can go ahead and delete all of those ones of that type. So all hero, let's just quickly comb through it. I don't need to start getting hung up on how much is there. Let's just clear it out. This is what I typically do. Managing the inventory is annoying, but if you don't do it, then you don't end up collecting new sets and you just get diamonds instead. So always make sure you guys stay on top of it. And then what I like to do, if for whatever reason I want to have multiples, it's more important when you get to this tree because you want to have one of each type based on whatever hero is your strongest at that point. But this one you don't really need to keep multiples of, so I'll just check through all of these and see that this one's not worth keeping. I'll get my money back. 31, CFB, CFC, so this one's no better. And oftentimes the all damage is not better than the all hero damage. It is when you first get it, but I find it usually doesn't come anywhere close. Like CFC versus CFB, it's way out. So what you can do is just equip one and then see if there's a better one, equip that, and then you know that all of the other all damages are useless. So kill those. And you're good. But I'm gonna go ahead and finish. Oh, it is done. We'll go down to critical, see if there's a better one. So we know that's the best critical damage of the set. We can kill all the rest of these. I never use a tap damage, so I'm not gonna waste my time. And don't get super precious. If you destroy a piece of equipment and you feel like it's the best one, another one's going to drop like 200 levels up anyways, and it's probably going to be as good or better. So don't feel like you're crushed or you fucked up hard, because I used to think that, and I was just like devastated for a week until I realized, oh, it doesn't really matter anyways. So now I've got in this one a couple of different types, and then I usually just choose whatever one's the best based on this clanship damage, because that's my main source of damage. Again, making sure my clan mate is going. 26.33. So it looks like we've got a clear winner here with this all hero damage. So I'm going to kill these other ones. That's how I build my first set with the sword. And you can of course play with this. I used to play with it a lot more and customize my character, but man, when you get through so many pieces of equipment, it gets impossible to stay on top of. So moving to the next tree, what I normally do is for that helmet is I make sure I have one of mage, one of the warrior, one of the gunblade, one of the ranger, and then yeah, that's pretty much it. Make sure you've got one for each of these heroes, because you want to be switching this based on whatever hero's number one on your list for how much damage they do. And you can find that two ways. Right now I can see that Wally Watt the Magician is doing 100% of the damage. If you look next to his name, underneath there's a level, and then there's the damage per second, DPS. And then in brackets is 100%. So he's doing 100% of my damage. And similarly, Jace the Ruthless Cutter right now, just based on his level, is doing less than 1%. So you can use those as a guide, or you can just keep in this tab and it'll tell you strongest hero right above it, below your clanship damage. And that lets you know the blue one is mage, the orange axe is warrior, and then the green arrow is of course ranger for those who are pretty new. The gunblade damage I don't usually keep, so I'm gonna kill it because it's just not something I build around. So let me just go through my tree here. And same as before, just to get the green arrows, this will just help you speed up managing your equipment. Look for green arrows for mage. I don't see that there's any, so the one that's selected is the best. And we're gonna kill all these other ones. And then I will select warrior, see if there's a better warrior. There's not, so we'll kill this last warrior. Ranger. Oh, here's a better one, so this other one can go. I'll get rid of the gun. And now you want to always have at least 3 on this tab, so that, and again guys, make sure that you are synced with the strongest hero, because it makes a huge difference whether or not you can push or if you get stuck sometimes. Sometimes you might get stuck and it's just as simple as changing your equipment to make it work. So that's how I work out my second tree. And let's move on to the chest plate. Because I have this gold ring, you see this gold ring around my pet underneath the target there? That's the Heart of Gold skill. So let me pull that open. Skill tree. You'll see it on this one. It's the second one down. This is the skill. Heart of Gold. And that gold ring just multiplies all of your boss gold. And I've just poured so much into it. So for me, boss gold is the best one. If you've put into the jackpot skill, which is this one over here in this far corner, the one that's selected, then that might be the best one for you. And similarly, if you've put into Chesterton on the skill tree, that one might be the best for you. I don't have Chesterton appear too often, so for me it's always the boss gold, because I'm always clicking this gold ring. And a quick tip for that is, if you guys have this Hand of Midas going and you hit this gold ring, it's going to multiply it out so much more than if you just hit the gold ring without the Hand of Midas. So it's a quick tip. But I will always keep the boss gold, and I usually just destroy these ones, to be honest with you. But do the same thing as the other tree. Try to check if there's one that has a green arrow, and that's the one you want to stick with. In the old versions of Tap Titans, they didn't have that green arrow, so I'm glad they added it to make things a hell of a lot easier. And sometimes you might have items that are very, very close, or even the exact same, but have a different secondary bonus, like these two sets here, this Amorous Acrobat and this Chef Suit, both have the same all gold multiplier, but Jackpot Gold and Fairy Gold. Now if you're always hitting fairies, or you've put into your Fairy Gold, then stick with this one. So sometimes paying attention to that secondary bonus means that you'll get a lot more out of that piece of equipment, and sometimes it doesn't mean jack shit, so do pay attention to that. All gold is just not great for me, so killing those. Don't care for the jackpot because I never use it. And I am not too worried about making a mistake. So if you guys watching this video saw me destroy something that was way better, then I'm sorry if that fucked with your OCD, but it's just gonna be useless to me once I go up another 1,000 levels anyways. So now we're moving on to this aura section. Now this one, you literally could use the helmet primary effect or the sword primary effect. Both of them are very strong. They basically multiply how much you're getting out of these, the helmet and the sword. So you can find a huge difference. Just choose the one that is the strongest at that time. So if I have a CA versus a CB, the CB is going to be a lot better than the CA. And then just pay attention to the multiplication, the times, because a 15 and an 8 CA is going to be a huge difference, even though it's a different piece of equipment. Because as you go, I mean, unless you have literally a shitty sword or a shitty helmet, then this should be about equal. And then just choose the one that has the better multiplier in the better exponent CA or CB range. So for this, CB seems to be the best of the bunch. CA, 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 yeah, so these are all pretty well useless. And I could tell that without even looking. I would prefer a slash over a helmet or a sword, but honestly, guys, I think the slash doesn't work as often as I'd like it to. I just don't get it to last that long. The slash one, it'll be good for maybe 100 levels, and then you're gonna find a helmet or a sword boost that's way better. Unless you buy a mythic, and then it's a little bit better, but still, the way they built it or structured it is such that the slash bonus was never really as strong as the helmet or the sword boost. So that's basically my tip for this piece of equipment. And then on the last rung, I always choose clanship. I've kind of built my skill tree out, if you saw my last video, for the clanship here, the warlord tree. But once you get so far to like 15 to 20,000 or whatever, you find it slow down. So you've got to start building out these other skills and using them. And you'll see the skills that I use along the bottom here. I'm using that Shadow Clone, War Cry, got the Fire Sword, Hand of Midas, and then the Deadly Strike next to the Thundership. So what I'm finding, I'm getting distracted here playing, is that even though I have all these other skills built up, it's still always better for me to use the clanship because that's my main source of damage. I haven't really built anything for the pets, so these can die completely. Heavenly Strike, again, if your build is Heavenly Strike, then keep this by all means and use it, but for me, not going to do anything because I don't even use that skill. Gold Gun, it's another skill I don't really use. I do use the dagger one, but you'll see CJ is much better than the CF, even though it's not far off. So kill all of these. Do keep the clanship one, even if it's significantly lower. Sometimes it's actually better, just because the instance of it to actually make a difference. Like if your clanship's actually attacking, then it will make a difference. But if you're not using Heavenly Strike, it doesn't have much time to actually be in effect or be of use. So I just comb through this as quickly as I can. Kill. And that's basically my daily routine once I'm picked up enough equipment. Sometimes I do it as I go. Every piece of equipment, I just determine if it's useless, because sometimes doing like 100 is so annoying to comb through, especially if you're in the abyss, because you climb levels quickly, and then it just is so fucking annoying to have to do. The other thing that I could mention is no, we already mentioned that. The crafting portion. So I mean, I kind of spoke about this in another video, but not too much in detail. Guys, just stay away from buying or crafting these event or rare ones. Legendary's okay, but you really should be going for mythic, because once you get a full set, these bonuses, these permanent bonuses, the 5-level spell cap, this damage per activated spell, and this prestige relics, that's where you get further in the game. So save all of your mythic crafting shards until you can buy a full set, and then they get more expensive as you go. So for me, guys, to tell you which set to buy, don't get hung up on which set, because every time you level up, that piece that you bought or that mythic sword that you got, these are also random, so as soon as I hit craft, it's going to choose one of those 5 at random, but it'll never choose one that you've already gotten until you've got the full set. But don't get hung up on them, because again, after you climb a few 100 or 1,000 levels, it's become pretty useless. And as you see, I mean, I destroyed most of my mythic sets because they were either useless, didn't pertain to my build, or just out of date because I climbed so many levels. So that's me going through my equipment. Hopefully this helps somebody. I know it's probably not the answer that you want to hear, because you're probably looking for, okay, what is the best set? But it really depends. So if you're purchasing equipment, pay attention to which one it is. Like this one says critical damage. It might be strongest, but it might not be. Whereas this one's tap damage. If I had a tap build, that would be a good one to buy as a first set. Because I'm building the clan one, I went for something that has the clan ship, and you can always tell which set is the best for you by clicking on it and then checking the piece, the last piece. This one's a pet build, so the slash will tell me this one's a clan ship, another clan ship, and then this one here, Heavenly Strike build, right? This one here, Shadow Clone build. So you'll want to get those based on whatever you're going. Another Shadow Clone. Check the last one of the set. That'll give you a good indication of, based on what skill tree you have, which set to go for first. And then outside of that, pay attention to the skills that they grant you. If it's something that you want, like this all talent cost, then go for it. If you're doing an active pet build and you want those 25 levels, I had a lot of pets in the beginning, so for me, getting this Fatal Samurai was my favorite set at that time. I spent a lot of money, a lot of resources on these pets. You can see how many levels I have them up. I have, you know, almost 4,000 total pet levels. So that'll be the next video. I'm going to go through all my pet levels and explaining how I choose pets and who I put into, who I thought was kind of useless, and then a little bit more about pet quests, but I'll go through that in the next video, guys. Hopefully this was helpful. Let me know if you guys have any questions, and I'll do my best. Thanks for watching.